Hello and welcome to My Filthy Kitchen, which is a kitchen that is filthy, and a professional that is not, and film developers that, to be honest, I've never used before, and we're going to make a video of me using them for the first time, so hopefully you'll think I'm super cool, or you're going to think I'm a massive idiot. Over the last weekend, America celebrated its 250th birthday. Happy birthday, America! And, as a proud American, I went to the most American place I could think of, a British ocean liner. And I took my old film camera with me. And now I have film to develop. And while I could take it to a lab and have them develop it for me, what's the fun in that? When I can buy things to do it myself and probably mess it up. But I get to film it and you get to watch it. And hopefully I don't mess it up because it was kind of expensive to get the film, the developing kit. And to be honest, I enjoyed myself. I don't want to lose my memories. Okay, like with anything, there is hardware and software to deal with here. The hardware, film to develop, tool to pull film out of its little cassette, lovely plastic spools to get the film onto for developing, a developing tank which uses light mazes to keep light off the film during developing, a changing bag to get the film out of its cassette onto the spool into the developing tank, and a lovely measuring equipment in order to mix our chemicals with. Okay, and for our software team we have our developer, Rodinal. As the name intends, it will develop the image onto the film. After that, we have Fixer. This will be removing all the parts of the film that didn't get developed. And then we have Wetting Agent, also known as Photo Flow. This will aid in the rinsing process in order to not get my hard water all over my film. Okay, I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert on this. If you actually do want to check out a really cool video on how to do this, check out Technology Connections video on black and white film development. Really cool. It's actually the guidelines that I'm going to be using for this hot mess of whatever the heck I'm doing. First thing we need to do is we need to get the film out of the cartridge. And with that, we have an extraction tool. What this basically does, if you can see it, is we're going to take this little lip out, or we're going to take this lip, shove it into the film itself through the felt light seal. Then we're going to take our first little slider here and shove her on in. Oop, whoop, careful. And then we're just simply going to rotate. And apparently there's supposed to be a click. Be both audible and... Oop, there it was. I don't know if you heard it. I don't know if you heard it, but I did. And then we're going to go ahead and take our second part here and shove her on in. And apparently if I hold on to it, it'll just, whoop, not work at all. Okay. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay. First part, we shove her on in. Okay. Remember how I said I was a professional at this? Okay, we're going to rotate. Oh, there was a click. That was much louder. And then apparently if I do that, hey, the leader came back out exactly as we wanted to. Okay, perfect. That's one. Hey, what do you know? I am a professional. Okay, from what I've seen, okay, we need to take our little D-ring off. I am not scripting this part, so whatever I stammer over, whatever I say that might make me sound like a complete moron, hey, I am a moron. Like I said, I've never done this before, so we're doing this. This is a learning experience for all of us. But my understanding is, first thing we need to do is pull the film out a little bit more. We don't want to get it out too far, so we don't want to ruin anything. And we need to cut the leaders off, and I'm going to just do that now. Yes, these are kitchen shears. I don't know where my proper scissors are. Never do this with your kitchen shears. It's very bad for them. I'm also right-handed, so in order to not hurt myself, I'm going to use my right hand. Okay, there we are. Nice and flush. That should go onto these lovely spools a little bit easier. Pull you out. You'll see I actually have a broken sprocket here. My camera was actually damaged, and I had to repair it. The camera in question is an Olympus Trip 35, which is a fantastic camera, and it actually has a really cool feature about it, which we'll get into later. Suffice to say, without batteries or any sort of electronic components, it does automatic exposure. Super cool. Okay, cutting done. Scissors away. I don't need sharp objects in areas where I can't see them. All right, so this is what we need to basically do. Let's take that out of there because we don't need it right now. And it fell on the floor. Good, good. Falling on the floor is good. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to take this film and I'm going to feed it on. Oh, actually, looks like it's actually a little bit, these are too narrow right now. That's okay. They are adjustable. There we go. That better? Maybe? No? Maybe it is supposed to be. We're learning. Ah, there we go. So basically we feed the film on like so, and then there's a couple ball bearings that will actually act like almost like a one-way valve to keep the film, or to keep spooling the film on. And then we just basically just rotate like that as the film comes off out of the cassette and onto the spool. But it has to be done inside the bag because right now the film hasn't been developed and any exposure to light will ruin it. So we are going to pop these lovely Velcro. Second lovely Velcro. Third lovely Velcro. There are actually double zipper versions of this, which are probably better. I do not have one. I was cheap because I did not know how this was going to go. All right, so in the bag go film, film 2, spool, spool 2, center thing for the spool, D-ring for the spool, which we'll see if I can get that on there, our developing tank, whoop, in you go, and the lid for the developing tank. All that goes in there. And I gotta find the zipper again. No idea. It's gotten a bit dark, but hey, that's what we're gonna have to deal with. I'll stick my hand in here. And there again. Ooh, there. In fact, actually, I'm gonna get myself a chair. Hold on. So you know I'm a professional. Okay, I'm just gonna put our little folding chair here. All right, sit down. Ooh. Hello, I hope you can see me still. All right, stick a hand in there. Ugh. About as far as my hand will go. And this is actually trickier because I don't have the other hand to help me. Actually, I can just reach through. There we go. Stick my hand in there. Hey, okay. So we're gonna do this blind. I have a roll of film in my hand and I have a spool. Okay, it's at the smallest setting. I have the rounded tips away from me, which is apparently what I want. I'm going to pull more film out of the spool. Oh, this is not, oh, this is interesting, not being able to see what I'm doing. I'm doing something I've never done before, blind. Well, that's even better. Ooh. What's going on here? Oh, we're at the end of the, oh, ooh, I need the scissors. Ah, problem. Okay. How likely am I to just rip this? Very likely, actually. Okay, I had to tear the film, unfortunately. Okay. I have to tear the other one. Hopefully, I got all 36 exposures out of there. All right, but that feels like it's on. Cool. All right, that's one done. Okay, next thing I need is the spool, or the core of the spool, which that goes on there. That's the lid. I have one spool on. I have two spools on. And then somewhere in here is a D-ring, or a C-ring, or, hey, look, I popped that on. Pop that in there. And, oh, we're done. Get my it's really hot in there. Okay, let's take a look and see if, really make sure that lid's on there. It's potential I've really messed up one of the films or film rolls already. I had to basically re-spool it and put it back in the cartridge and put it back onto its spool. It had an issue, but in theory, And there is nothing I've forgotten here. Nope, because we have our empty cartridges. This one looks like I got it all, and they're both pretty light, so hopefully that's everything. So now we go to the liquids. If you hear any gurgling in the background, that's the film being rinsed out because I got my hands all over it. I'm sure I was supposed to be wearing gloves, but hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so now we move on to the software. And I'm going to be using a process called stand developing, which from my understanding basically means I'm slightly cheating. Mainly what I'm doing is I'm not rushing the developing process, and I'm going to let it sit for like a half hour or an hour and really let the developer just go really slow. But it also has the advantages. I'm going to use a very small amount of developer in this. On the bottom of the developing tank, there's actually a lovely little code that says I'm going to need 650 cc's of water. And since stand development, if you can see here on the bottle, says I need a 1 to 100 mix, that means I need 6.5 cc's of Rodinol. So, ooh, there we go. I'll stick my finger in there. Yay, chemicals. Yum. Liquid. So this isn't the most exact syringe, but I should be able to get it somewhere between 6 and 7. Yes, I know there's a joke about that, and I'm not gonna play that game right now. And the syringe is not long enough to reach into there, so we are going to get a lovely. Ugh, where's my shot glasses at? There we go. Caesar's Palace. Boom. Just gonna pour some out. Woo! We're using chemicals now, boys. All right, I can get the syringe in, and we're just gonna pull. There we go. 6.5 ounces of cc's of developer go into there, and that's it. All I need to do now is fill this up to the 650 cc line, and apparently that's all I need for developing. Wow, that is not a lot of developer. This feels very wrong, but my math says I'm right. And here we go. If you guys are worrying about the light that's on, this tank is using what's known as a light maze. Light doesn't like to bend around 90-degree corners, and if you set them up enough, they don't act, or it won't let light pass through into the film area. It's actually a really cool design. I have heard certain things, if you have like a really bright light over the top, it can actually make it through. It's a little off, my ceiling fan's a little bit off to the side, so it should be okay. And we're just gonna go ahead and I guess that's it. It's now going to stand. Okay, our hour is up, and unfortunately it looks like my developing tank has some sort of a leak in it. It's great, it's brand new, and it's already broken. Well, that'll be going back to Amazon, but hopefully we got enough working time with the developer to actually get this to work. So all we got to do right now is take off our lid, which I'm not sure exactly what it does, but it's a lid, and I put it on. And we're just gonna take that off, and then we're gonna pour our developer out. It is a one-shot, so we can't reuse it. It's a one and done. Then we just gotta rinse her out. Now there is an optional step that we could be doing in this. See, the whole point of the rinse out is that the water is actually raising or lowering the pH of the remaining liquids in order to stop the development process. There's actually a chemical that's called stop bath, which is very acidic, which will do that basically instantly. My understanding, because we're using such little developer in the stand development system, it's really not necessary, simply because, well, the pH wasn't that high to begin with, and the water should balance out pretty darn nicely. So from here, all right, we have our fixer ready. This is 1 part fixer, 4 parts water, at least according to what I was told on the diagram. So we're going to just pour that on in there. All right, we'll put that to the side. And then all we're going to do is every so often, just come back. And spin her around. Okay, so it's been about 12 minutes since we started this. So our next part here is we're just going to put the photo flow back somewhere else. I need a container of some sort. I did not think this through. Need a rather large container. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. Hey, there we go. This container will work perfectly. And there goes the agitator. Whoop. Photo flow is done. And now, in theory, our film is done. I'm going to rinse it out real good, though. I'm going to do about 4 or 5 fills with this. Then I'll open her up, and if it ain't done, there ain't nothing else I can do here. Oh, I'm nervous. My memories. Now for our last step here, which is photo flow. I'm going to give this about, once again, I'm going to give it about, let's call it 800 mils of water. And it's a 200 to 1, so it's 4 cc's photo flow. Okay, so we have to use this stuff. This is basically just rinse aid. Because I have rather hard water, excuse me, I'm going to be off camera while this do this. Because I have rather hard water where I live, I don't want calcium spots on my film, obviously. So we're just going to use some of this. Okay, here we go. Rinse aid going in. I made 800 milliliters of this. It's probably way too much than what I actually need, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. There we go. That's actually behaving exactly how I would expect it. Yeah, about 100 milliliters too much. Oh. Ooh, it's actually made this quite slippery. I need surface tension. I need more power, Captain. Now for the big moment. Ooh. Take off this D ring, or this ring. Send it across the room. There we go. Did I waste film or do I have pictures? Ah, we have pictures. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, it worked. Somewhat. Yeah, I could recognize some of this. Some of that's the bridge. Hey, it works. Turns out if you follow the instructions, you'll probably be all right. Now, that being said, these pictures are far from perfect. There's this weird black line at the bottom of a lot of the frames themselves, and my exposures were not perfect. This camera does handle exposure automatically, but it sometimes gets a bit confused. There's also the black lines that could be a light leakage issue. That could be a fact that I wasn't wearing gloves during the developing process. I don't know. If you are a photographer and you do know the answer to this, please let me know. I would love to find out more. But that's black and white film development for you. Getting them onto the computer, on the other hand, was a bit, well, slapdash. I used an old tablet of mine to shine a white light through the film that I then took a picture of it with my phone. Not brilliant. If only they made dedicated scanners for that. But that's another video. And I do hope you enjoyed this video. As I sit here recording in some very hot weather, the channel itself has just gone past 200 subscribers with 5,000 views on the first video. I honestly don't know what to say, but just thank you so much for the support. I never in a million years thought that was going to happen. For now though, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below, and if you want to see more of my zany antics, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye!